In today's video, I'm going to show you guys the best meta weapons and class setups to use in all of Warzone and Resurgence right now. The metas have changed up quite a bit, especially over the last couple of days after they've cranked out a couple of different updates. Without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump into the first class. Starting off with this video, I'm going to be talking about the TAC Eradicator LMG. It is a newer LMG that they added. The reason it's on this list is because it has zero recoil. I mean, literally zero recoil, and also has really good bullet velocity and damage range because it's an LMG, making this gun ideal for those long-range gunfights. The time to kill on this gun comes in at 9:43, which is a little bit on the slower side. It's still in the top guns when it comes to time to kill, but you're definitely paying for that no recoil feel and ease of use in the time to kill values. Overall, the gun's one of my favorites, and honestly, it's probably my favorite gun to use on Resurgence right now, just because the iron sights feel amazing. I don't know why, but I feel like for some reason you get more aim assist with the iron sights. Plus, the gun has really good mobility, and again, like I said, it's super easy to use, so I think it makes it the perfect Resurgence gun. You don't need to put any weird scopes or sights on it or anything like that, like some of the other guns on this list. The first attachment we're going to use in the TAC Eradicator is the TAC Vert Pour Stock. It's going to help you a ton with the recoil control. Next off, you're going to want to use the FSS Combat Grip, also again to help you with recoil control. This attachment is also great because it doesn't slow down your ADS speed, and it does wonders for that recoil control. Next, we're going to use the Bruin Heavy Support Underbarrel. This is going to get rid of that nasty, hard to control side-to-side horizontal recoil, and it's also going to help smooth out the recoil pattern by adding extra gun kick control. And I honestly wouldn't worry about the increase to your vertical recoil. The gun has basically zero anyway, so adding a little bit of a percent onto that is pretty much non-existent. Next, we're going to be using the Spirit Fire Muzzle because it's going to help crank up our damage range, bullet velocity, and again, our recoil control. And lastly, we're going to be using the Conquer Long Barrel. This attachment is going to help with our damage range and again, bullet velocity. And the cool thing about this attachment is it's kind of like the rear grip. We don't actually get any sort of noticeable con from this. We're not ever going to be hip firing or using tac stance with this, especially in a game of Warzone. So we're basically just getting all pros by adding it. Next up on our list, we have the MTZ Interceptor. This is a tap to fire gun, and it does use sniper rounds, but that's honestly the only con to this weapon. They did nerf the damage on this to kind of take it out of that top fastest killing gun slot, but the gun is still incredibly easy to use with a 2 to 4 shot time to kill with full plates. The gun also still has very little recoil. The time to kill comes in at 841, which is 100 milliseconds faster than that TAC Eradicator I just showed you. To start off our class setup on the MTZ Interceptor, we're going to be using the MCW Blackjack stock. It's going to help a lot with our recoil control. We're going to also combine that with a 20-round mag. Like I said, this does use sniper rounds, and so you're going to need the extra ammo capacity. I honestly would say that the ammo is the biggest downside to this gun, but that's also why it's so hard hitting. So I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword. The optic, we're going to be using the Corgio Eagle Eye 2.5 times optic. I mean, just look at how nice this sight looks. Next off, we're going to be using the MTZ Blackthorn Barrel. This is going to boost the crap out of our bullet velocity and our range, and it's kind of the same case as the last gun. We're not going to really get any noticeable con by adding this to our gun. It's basically all pros. You're never, ever, ever going to hit fire or use tac stance on this gun, so you're just getting all benefit here. For the last attachment, we're going to be using the Spirit Fire Suppressor again. It's going to boost our bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil control, making the gun way easier to use from far away. And now let's go ahead and jump into what I believe to be the absolute meta right now for the primary guns. Pulim Yacht, I'm not sure if I'm saying that name correctly. I just call it the PKM at this point. Is one of the easiest guns in all of Warzone to use right now, and it comes in with a time to kill of 736. That's 100 milliseconds faster than the MTZ that I just showed you, and it's a whopping 200 milliseconds faster than that first TAC Eradicator class setup. The gun is also pretty easy to use. I wouldn't say it's as easy to use as the TAC Eradicator, but it's still pretty close. It also has 25 extra bullets compared to that TAC Eradicator that only has 75, whereas this has 100. And on this gun, you have the ability to use the optic, making this gun pretty much perfect for the big map. On Resurgence, I will say the gun does kind of lack in the mobility category. It's not as mobile as the TAC Eradicator, or again, as easy to use. So that's kind of the pro cons there, but this gun 100% is the meta primary right now. If I was playing for money, I would be using this. The first attachment, we're again going to be using the 2.5x optic. This is the most popular zoom sight. Just try it out if you haven't already. You'll know exactly why the instant you actually use the sight. For the second attachment, we're going to be using the Jack Annihilator conversion kit. And this attachment is a 100% must-have. You can't use the gun to get that really fast 736 time to kill if you're not using the conversion kit. The conversion kit cranks the crap out of the fire rate, and it does wonders for the gun's ADS speed, allowing this to be a much more viable gun and easier to use. There's also other attachments on this gun that I'm going to talk about in a second that you can only equip if you have on the conversion kit. If you don't have any of the conversion kits unlocked or the gun leveled up, you probably should use one of the first 2 guns that I mentioned. Next off, for the barrel, we're going to use the TAC Annihilator long barrel. You have to have the conversion kit active on your gun, otherwise you won't see this barrel and you won't be able to equip it. Make sure you apply the conversion kit before trying to add this barrel, otherwise you won't see it. This attachment's purpose is solely to boost the damage range and bullet velocity. Next off, we're going to be using the Spirit Fire suppressor muzzle. It's going to boost our recoil control, it's going to boost our damage range, and it's going to boost that bullet velocity, allowing us to get those kills from far away easily. Then for the last attachment, we're going to be using the Bruin Heavy Support Grip. Bruin Heavy Support Grip is one of the best recoil control underbarrels to use in all of Warzone and Resurgence right now, simply because of the fact that it really reduces that disgusting, really hard to control and kind of get around horizontal recoil. Definitely the meta weapon, and I won't be told otherwise. Next off, we're going to be talking about the WASP Swarm. We're going to move into the SMG meta now. Kind of went over the main 3, I'd say, for the primary guns. Now let's go ahead and talk about the submachine guns. So I've got a couple of WASP Swarm class setups for you guys. This class setup right here is one of the max movement class setups. Now this setup will have a lot more recoil. There is a class setup with the 100 round mag as well, which some people do like over the 50 round mag. It's because the gun shoots so quick. The class setup on screen now is the max movement class setup. I'm not going to go through every single attachment on this. Long story short, it's got an integrated suppressor on this gun, so you kind of get both the barrel and the suppressor. Keep you off the mini map. It essentially saves an attachment slot, allowing you to get kind of that faster movement build. I'm using the hand stock 50 round mag and the rear grip kind of for those same reasons, and then the stock is actually going to be our main recoil control attachment. The reason for that is very clear if you look at the stats. The gun is pretty bouncy left, right, and up down recoil, and this stock smooths out all of it with just one simple attachment. You'll see this on every single WASP Swarm build, and if you don't, then the person that gave you the class probably doesn't know what they're talking about. WASP Swarm also has a time to kill of 880, which is actually much slower than the MTZ Interceptor and that PKM that I showed you guys. Very interesting that the subs in this game kill so much slower up close compared to some of these bigger heavy guns, but I assume at some point they'll look into that and they'll fix it. And as promised, this is going to be the class setup they're going to use if you want to use the 100 round mag. Again, the movement isn't as good, and I'm not going to lie to you, the gun doesn't feel as good as well. You can definitely tell that it is slower for sure, just because of that 100 round mag. It does slow down a good bit. The ADS speed isn't too bad on this gun though. It already aims in pretty quick, so if you guys are looking for a 100 round mag setup for the Swarm, this isn't going to be a bad option for you. Next off, we're going to be talking about the Striker SMG. This is probably the only other like usable, I'd say, SMG in this game right now. The recoil on this gun as well is what I'd say makes it worse. You tell that there's a huge movement speed difference between this gun and then the last WASP Swarm that I just showed you, again because of that 100 round mag, but this gun comes in at a 910 time to kill, so about 30 milliseconds slower than that WASP Swarm. Some people just kind of have a preference for this over the Swarm. It does shoot a little bit slower, so you feel like you don't really run out of ammo as much. Definitely get a lot more damage in per mag and reload way less in the middle of gunfight. Combine that with the really good movement on this Striker, and I think that's why people are starting to use this gun. Lastly, I hate to throw this gun in there as like a 6th gun or a bonus, but I have to talk about the 725. This gun is stupid right now. It's ruining the games. They somehow made it one-shot kill again. I don't know how they even managed to do that. I guess they reverted the gun back to like a pre-nerf state. If you guys want to use a laser, you can take off this demo carbon guard. This is going to add some movement speed, but you can take it off and use the point GP laser. This laser is basically going to reduce your hip fire spread by a significant margin, and it's going to help you get a little bit of extra sprint to fire speed. It's a little bit of preference though, because it does show at the hip, so if you're in a stairwell or something like that and you're just staring at the wall, people are going to be able to see and know that you're there. If you found today's video helpful, make sure to leave a like, comment down below, and sub to the channel if you guys are new. It does help me out tremendously. But with that, I'll see you guys in the next one.